If you let me play.
If you let me play sports.
I will like myself more. I'll have more self-confidence.
If you let me play sports.
If you let me play.
If you let me play. I will be 60% less likely to get breast cancer.
I will suffer less depression.
If you let me play sports.
I will be more likely to leave a man who beats
If you let me play.
I'll be less likely to get pregnant before I want to.
I will learn
what it means to be strong.
To be strong.
If you let me play.
Play sports.
If you let me play sports.
Title IX was passed in 1972. The law was part of the Education Amendment of 1972. It ended sexual discrimination in all federally funded institutions. Title IX placed new regulations on colleges and universities. There were now rules institutions had to abide by in order to be in compliance with the new legislation. Before passing Title IX, women's intercollegiate athletics painted a very different picture. During the 1940s, various chapters of the Women's Athletic Association were started all over the country. The association was created to promote women's athletics. Every woman on a college campus could be part of the WAA. The WAA provided a non-competitive atmosphere for female athletes. In 1945, Virginia Hart was hired as a physical education teacher and the head of the WAA at Mars Hill College. Hart quickly boosted involvement in the WAA. The WAA had fall, winter, and spring sports. Sports included swimming, basketball, archery, tennis, softball, soccer, ping pong, and field hockey. In 1954, the WAA's mission at Mars Hill College was to promote wholesome and healthful activity, to stimulate an interest in athletics, to create a spirit of good sportsmanship, and to cooperate with other campus organizations in promoting and maintaining the highest quality standards of college life. All women were welcome and encouraged to join the WAA and participate in at least one sporting event on a regular basis. The 1960s brought new changes. For one, Coach Hart started a varsity athletic program for women's sports. This program was extremely different from many other colleges. The program included women's basketball, then grew to include volleyball and women's tennis. No female athlete received an athletic scholarship, and the women did not have a conference to compete in, which made it difficult to find equal competition. Women's athletics were about to change at Mars Hill. Title IX would soon change many women's lives. It provided equal opportunity for all women in education and athletics. The law mandated all federally funded schools participate. If an institution refused to abide by Title IX regulations, then it would lose its federal funding. Title IX officially went into effect in 1975. The Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, known as HUE, released its final regulations. Institutions had 3 years to put these regulations into effect. HUE's system required that every institution be in compliance of at least one of the following: a proportionality test, which mandates that there must be the same proportion of female athletes on varsity teams as the proportion to female students; that the institution must be able to demonstrate a history of continuing practice of expanding programs for women. This means with the addition of a male sport, there should also be an addition of a female sport. An institution must be able to show that the institution is fully and effectively accommodating the interests and ability of women on campus. In 1972, Mars Hill College had varsity women's basketball, volleyball, and tennis. The teams had very little money. Women athletes were forced to take their own cars and the coaches' cars to an away contest until Coach Hart bought a van. Meanwhile, the men's team traveled on buses. The women athletes were also allotted only $1 per meal while traveling. By 1989, Mars Hill College had 5 men's athletic teams and 4 women's. The men's teams received more scholarship and spending money. However, Mars Hill College has always upheld Title IX regulations. Today at Mars Hill College, there are 10 male sports and 9 female sports. There are also a total of 420,000 student athletes in the United States, 43% of which are women. Women's sports have been growing rapidly since the early 1980s. In 2009, there were almost 250,000 female athletes. How did we get this far? One answer: Title IX.
I'm entitled to the net. I'm entitled to the hoop. I'm entitled to the ball. I'm entitled to the finish line.